Welcome to the Montreal Expos franchise here on MLB The Show 24. We are in the month of July and our Expos are 35-62, and we were expecting that this first season would not really go very well, seeing that we are a new expansion team. And we've just had some things pile up, like injuries you just saw there. But let's just recap the last episode. With our number 10 pick, we drafted Bill Hedger, who was a big-time hitter in college, one of the best hitters in all of college baseball out of Texas Tech in the first round. Then in the second round, we picked Luis Nunez, a very comparable player, but he projects out to be somewhere between C and B potential. We took a risk. He's 18 years old. But then with the next pick, we had to be sure. We drafted a guaranteed A potential prospect in Brooks. We then drafted a veteran college player in Bruce Edwards, who's projected to have a high overall to start out. Then we went to Eduardo Valenzuela, a relief pitcher, because we don't have any relief pitching prospects. And then we ended the draft with a utility guy in Adam Ramirez, who projects to possibly be somewhere in the 70s or 80s potential, but I guess we'll have to see. So we will reveal the prospects and jump ahead a little bit in this episode and reveal these guys right away. We start here with Bill Hedger. He comes in at 72 overall, but only 79 potential. I'm a little disappointed with that potential, but look at these hitting attributes. He looks like a big league hitter right now. I mean, this guy is going to be a very productive guy at the plate. His fielding is decent. His reaction is good too to start out. His arm and accuracy are not good, and he's not very fast either, but I'm okay with that pick. Obviously, the potential, we wanted that to be higher. But we move on to our second round pick, and I am very disappointed with this one. Luis Nunez ends up being 59 overall and only 74 potential. I thought that he was going to be a whole lot better. He can play corner infield and corner outfield. He's not great defensively. He's got really good power versus left. Potential to be great. His vision's a little low, but that will probably develop, but it's going to be a few years before he's even close to being ready. But the one guy we hit on was Gary Brooks. He is at the peak of his projected potential. He has 95 potential, 61 overall, and he is our first A potential guy in the entire organization right now. And I looked at the rest of the potentials around the draft. He had the third highest potential possible in this entire draft class. So this is definitely a hit. Bruce Edwards ends up being 77 potential, 58 overall. I was hoping that would at least be in the mid 60s overall to start it out. I'm kind of disappointed with it, but he's going to be a good hitter in the minors. I'm not sure what he's going to be as far as a projected prospect going into the pros, the MLB level. But I look at him, he's a good fielder. He has decent speed, very good vision, really good contact. So like I said, he's going to be a very good minor league player. And who knows, if he, has good seasons, that potential could rise up and possibly progress to a B potential. Eduardo Valenzuela, we kind of took a flyer on him. He's okay. Hits per nine is at 60. Walks per nine is at 42, which is a little low. Home runs per nine is 70. His velocity is up there at 94. I don't know what he's going to be, though. He's already 23. C potential, 55 overall. I'm not exactly sure there. And then Adam Ramirez, another C potential guy, 56 overall, 22 years old. He's got decent contact, a good fielder, and good reaction. Good speed, too, at 70. But looking at our draft class, I would give this draft a B minus, maybe a B, maybe a solid B, probably a B minus though. And I say that because Luis Nunez was the bigger disappointment than Bill Hedger. Even though Bill Hedger is 79 potential, he still has the opportunity to progress to a B, and his hitting attributes alone make him an elite hitting prospect right now. Looking at the rest of the teams that made draft picks, which guys we highlighted in last episode, Rich Cabrera ends up being a high-end player. He's going to be very, very good. We decided to pass on Craig Hollander, and looking back at it, I probably still would have passed on Craig Hollander in favor of Hedger because Hedger is an excellent hitter right now. Like I said, could probably be a MLB level hitter at this moment. Cleveland Gilliam went a couple of picks ahead of us. He ends up being B potential, 64 overall, 63 potential exactly. Ray Cruz, who went number 3 in the draft, he ends up being 85 potential, and he ends up being in the mid-60s overall. The Colorado Rockies had a very good draft class, by the way, and they are obviously fighting for that worst draft, not first draft, but the worst record in all of baseball right now, along with us. Dorian Van, we were deciding between Hedger and Van. Van ends up being 64 overall, 85 potential. He's exactly who I thought he would be. He is mid-60s, 64 overall, high walks per nine at 61, and the rest of his attributes do need to develop. TJ Sohn was the other guaranteed guy I scouted that would be an A potential. He ends up being 91 potential. Bobby Swigum, who went number 2 in the draft, he didn't go number 2. He went number 5, I believe. He ends up being 71 overall B potential. Really, really good player. Dominic Fitch, who went number 1 overall, 74 overall B potential. He is very, very good. Very, very good. I'd probably say he and Hedger are like neck and neck as far as best hitters that we've seen. Peter Rodriguez was another guy we considered there with that number 10 pick. I did not go with him, mainly because his contact was very, very low and he wasn't a great fielder, but he ends up being pretty good with his power. And then there is one generational prospect in this draft class, and it was Efrain Handy. He was the number 1 rated MLB prospect. He ended up dropping to the number 4 pick. He ends up being 81 overall, A potential, 99, and he looks really, really good. So the A's get the first generational prospect of this series. We had no chance of getting him anyway, and it's a whole reason why I did not scout him. I knew he would be off the board pretty early. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below of our draft class. Like I said, my grade is a B-, mostly because we did get an A potential prospect and we did get an MLB level bat in Hedger. Obviously disappointed with Nunez. If Nunez was a B potential, I would probably give that draft class a solid B. So here we go, looking into the month of July as we get into the trade deadline and the All-Star break. Kyle Higashioka has the most votes of anybody on our team, and it seems like he is going to be the All-Star for us this year. Obviously, you can have at least one per team, but it looks like that's all it's going to be for us, just one All-Star. And looking at the NL All-Stars batting order, it is confirmed. Kyle Higgy, he is right here on the bench. He's 72 overall. He will get a slight boost because he is an All-Star. I'm going to reward our All-Stars in this series, only getting one attribute boost, by the way, 1 point per rating. So he will go up a little bit. I don't know why he's declining. Maybe because he's 33. I'm not exactly sure, but he does get the All-Star nod. He is going to be a free agent this offseason as well. And here he gets his opportunity in the All-Star game. This is his first All-Star bid, by the way, and he got it hitting .221 on the year. So here he comes into bat here, up to the plate here in the top of the 8th inning. No outs. He gets a pitch over the middle. That one is a foul tip. And now it's a 1-2 pitch here facing Andres Munoz, and he hits 1-2 right field. That one gets through the infield. It will score 1 and does stretch this National League lead to 2-0 here late in this game. A very low-scoring All-Star game this time around going into the 8th. And Higgy does go 1 for 1 in his first All-Star game with an RBI single. So the NL All-Stars do end up winning this one 3-0, but that is it for All-Star break. I mean, we didn't really have any players worthy, but I am actually surprised Tim Anderson didn't make it. He was hitting .280 at the All-Star break, and he really got snubbed, to be honest with you. looking around the MLB, there are some surprises this year at the All-Star break. One of them is Christian Yelich hitting .351, 25 home runs. He participated in the home run derby also. Mike Trout ended up winning it. But wow, is he having a great year. He could go for the batting title and the MVP, turning into his younger self. But looking at the rest of the awards here, we will go quickly through them. We have none. We have 0 players that are even in the running. I believe Higashioka was in the top 3 for Silver Slugger for catcher, but that's not going to happen more than likely unless he goes on a tear. And now here we are post All-Star break, and I think my goal here is to get some more playing time to the young guys, and that, you know, starts with the trade deadline. We're definitely going to want to make some moves to probably free up some roster spots and get these young guys opportunities. But right away, you see Jeter Downs right there. He's one of those young guys I'm talking about. He had a 3-run home run right there, and he is 25 years old. He is in the mid-60s overall. I do want to see him develop, though, and he is actually not doing bad. He's hitting about .260 this year, but he has had limited at-bats. We obviously signed Gene Segura. We do have Tim Anderson in the middle infield. We obviously have Santiago Espinal, who's on the trade block. And in this game, fresh off of the All-Star break, we get an 11-3 victory where Tim Anderson goes 4 for 5. And I feel like he should have had the All-Star bid out of anybody on our team. Then in the next game, we win 3-2. And in this one, Zach McKinstry goes 3 for 4. Jason Hayward goes 2 for 3. And Santiago Espinal goes 3 for 4. So maybe boosting that trade value just a little bit. So now we go for the sweep versus the Cincinnati Reds. And the start today was going to go to Javier Assad. He's a young pitcher, but he is doing awful. 20 games started, 4 quality starts. I mean, that is just the season he's having. A 153 whip, 5.27 ERA. He's got 69 strikeouts to 47 walks. That is a terrible ratio. So instead of moving him down to AAA, I'm just going to move him to the bullpen because I just can't trust him as a starter. I don't really care about wins here in season 1, but I do care about production. And Javier Assad is not having a good year at all. But I will execute a minor trade here, and I'm going to go after Cal Mitchell. He was actually offered in trade to us earlier in the season. I did not record it or put it here in an episode, but he was designated for assignment, and he is in the mid-20s. He's 25 years old. He's got a decent bat, and this is what they offered us earlier. It was Juan Pablo Caldenti, who is a 25-year-old, mid-50s C potential prospect, and then a outfielder, Colin Moore, who is kind of the same, a mid-50s C potential prospect. And we're getting a guy that's literally the same age and about 5 overalls higher. So I see this as kind of a no-brainer. He does have MLB experience as well, so I will take it. He does cost $1 million, but between those two prospects, he actually does end up saving us a little bit of money. And he will kind of act as the stopgap until Dairon Blanco comes back from injury. So I'm going to give him the start today. He's going to hit in the DH spot, up in the order at number 4, and he's hitting .300 at the MLB level this year. So the Padres designated him for assignment, and then we end up trading for him, and he will get the start today. So we go for the sweep here in the first series after the All-Star break. Hitting pretty well in this series, by the way, and we will put German Marquez out on the mound. He is 0-3, but the record really doesn't matter. The numbers do. In 4 starts, he's having a decent start to returning from injury, and we did not put him through AAA ball or anything. We put him straight from A ball to the MLB level, and I'm excited for him to kind of be the mentor of this pitching staff, at least for the next 2 years, this year and next year. So here is Jonathan India, the former Rookie of the Year. He swings that one across the middle, and that was a hanger slider, and it is gone in a hurry. And the Reds take the 1-0 lead here on the road, as we really need to shore up this pitching staff, and German Marquez is going to be, at least right now, the 1, 2, or 3 in that rotation. But we do get out of this second inning with a ground out that time, and that is the young shortstop, Addison Barger, who's playing third. He could transition to shortstop next year. We'll see what happens with Tim Anderson. Here is Cal Mitchell, who we just acquired via trade with the Padres. He gets his first at-bat here with the Expos. Inside circle change, and he's a little bit ahead of that one, and it's a swinging strike 3. Jason Hayward to the plate now with 2 outs here in the bottom of the second inning, and he hits one up the middle. Hayward has been swinging a very good bat this year, surprisingly, to be honest with you, and he has been one of our better hitters. Obviously, he has that veteran experience. As that brings up Addison Barger to the plate, and he hits one well to left center. That one will get to the gap, and that one will bring one home, and Barger is going to be a guy that I am looking to develop in this series. We acquired him from the Toronto Blue Jays. He was backing up Bo Bichette, and they decided to give him a fresh start, and he gets a fresh start with the Expos. He's not hitting great right now, but defensively, he's been actually pretty good, as you just saw that last play, last inning. And now he's on second here. We'll see if we can drive in him with Santiago Espinal to the plate now, and he hits one well to center field, back at the track, and it will knock off of the bottom of the wall, and Espinal trying to boost that trade value. I think he's looking to get out of Montreal, especially with this rebuild we got going on. The veterans want to get out, as that brings up Zach McKinstry to the plate, and he swings at one high, and that one is just a fly out to center field, and that one will be the third out of the inning, but we take the 2-1 lead. Top 4 now, Will Benson at the plate now. He hits one up the middle. That one sneaks through, and it will be a single. And now here we go, trying to get out of this situation here. Man on first, 1 out. Jonathan India, who went deep earlier, he gets one on the inside half. Will just flare this one out to right center field, and that's going to be Espinal, who's playing center field today, and he will not be in time with that throw. And now they have runners on the corners with Elly De La Cruz to the plate. 1-1 pitch, and Elly De La Cruz hits this one to right field. He is actually hitting below 200 this year, believe it or not, and that one will be a RBI single for him, and he ties this ball game up. This inning still isn't over. Here comes Tyler Stevenson to the plate. He hits one to right center, and this one will get down. If that's Dairon Blanco in center, he gets to that one. The throw home to get Elly De La Cruz is not in time, and the Reds take the 4-2 lead in the 4th inning. As now Stuart Fairchild comes to the plate, hits one into foul territory, and Barger is under that one. He runs it down, and we will get out of this inning, but giving up 3 runs in the 4th. Here is Santiago Espinal, and he hits one up the middle. And, I mean, good for him, trying to get that trade value up. And he has a base knock here to start out the bottom of the 5th inning. That brings up Colton Wong, who we signed in free agency. He's been actually pretty good. He hangs on that curveball, and he hits it to right field. It's a single, moving Espinal over to third. So now we have runners on the corners. Big opportunity here for Higgy, the all-star for the Expos this season, and he swings and misses at the circle change. Fooled on that one, as it brings up Tim Anderson now. He gets one inside and is just a little late. Ground ball to second. That one ends the inning. Now we move on to the bottom of the 7th inning. Now it's a 6-2 ball game in favor of the Reds. And here is Higgy, who's hitting the ball pretty, I would say, above what he's used to hitting in his career. That one's to right field. It will score one, and it's 6-3 now. And Higgy is, I think, a guy that is probably the biggest candidate to get re-signed, because it's hard to find good catchers. Here is Tim Anderson. Ground ball to short. Elly De La Cruz with the easy throw over to first. And it's still a 3-run lead here for the Reds as we enter the 9th inning. How about Santiago Espinal? 4 for 4 with that single up the middle. And, man, having a huge day today. As now here comes Zach McKinstry to the plate now. Inside fastball. And that is going to be ball 4. So now we have 2 men on, no outs. That brings up Higgy with a chance to tie this ball game up. Inside pitch. It's clobbered, but foul. Can't straighten that one up. That one was crushed. But Higgy can't connect on the next pitch. It's a high fastball for the second out of the inning. Tim Anderson, our last hope, coming up to the plate. Outside fastball, breaking his bat over his knee. He was furious. That will end this one as the Cincinnati Reds do avoid the sweep. And it's a 6-3 win here for the Reds. And a big game, like I said, from Santiago Espinal as we near the trade deadline. We're going to look to make some moves. And we'll see what happens because I don't want to go crazy at the deadline. I do want to acquire guys. I don't know who, but we'll see. Dairon Blanco returns from injury, so that means that the short center field job for Santiago Espinal will be short-lived, and Dairon Blanco does return to the lineup and to the outfield also. He was having a pretty good season before he was injured, but coming out of that game, we get a terrible update. German Marquez dislocates his shoulder. So 5 starts and his season's done. If you look at the last 2 years from Marquez, he has just not been healthy. And he had 4 starts last year, 6 this year. And I thought he was going to be a mentor, but not this year. He's going to be sidelined for the remainder of the season. There's only 3 months left, so why even bring him back at this point? And let him heal that up. Coming to next season, hopefully healthy. And it brings the question again, do we promote Jamal Watson? I'm going to say no, because he has already gone up 2 overall here. And in my opinion, I just don't want to ruin his development. I think that he's having a pretty good development season here at AAA. And even though he's doing well enough to probably get moved up, I just don't want to stunt his growth. He's got a 3.6 WAR, which is really, really good. But I decided to move Javier Assad, who he literally just moved to the bullpen based on his struggles earlier in the episode, back to the rotation. And we will move Brock Burke as the 5th starter, even though he's a reliever. We just don't have the depth right now. And now we move on to the trade deadline and look at the moves that have gone on throughout the MLB. Salvador Perez goes to the Cardinals. Joshua Baez goes to the Royals in that trade. TJ Friedel goes to the Cubs. I'm surprised the Reds would make that move. I would have never traded within the division there. Andrew Benintendi goes to the Twins. Probably the biggest move, though, the Detroit Tigers trade away Riley Green to the Padres. So the Padres make 2 trades, one with us and one with the Tigers. So the Tigers are interesting because we're going to look at them a little closer, but here are the 3 trades we have made so far. Acquiring Cal Mitchell, who is a 61 overall outfielder. Addison Barger, who is probably our future at shortstop. Right now we have him at third base. And then Terrell Tatum, a developmental outfielder who I think is going to be really good and probably the future center fielder after Dairon Blanco. But we'll see how long Blanco is going to play center field for us, because right now I see a bright future still for Blanco. He's 30 years old. So going into the trade deadline, I really want to make a deal with teams that are contending right here in the wild card, but aren't in a true rebuild and aren't in first place, because we don't have good enough guys to really help out a first place team right now. But we have guys that could help out a wild card team. And the Detroit Tigers definitely stick out. Their roster strategy right now is rebuilding, but they do have a couple of injuries. Gio Urshela on the infield, he's out for 1 to 2 months with a fractured forearm. They obviously just got rid of Riley Green. Their outfield is pretty deep with young prospects, so I think they need somebody at least to be a stopgap and maybe even help out their playoff run this year. I think it would be a plus for them to make the playoffs. But they did acquire Samuel Zavala in trade, and they also have Kerry Carpenter also. Man, he is looking good as far as his numbers this year, and last year he had a really good year too. So they have a pretty good core in the outfield. But one guy that's been in the trade rumors probably for quite a little bit has been Akil Baddoo. I've been a fan of Baddoo since his rookie year, but he obviously had 2 really pedestrian years the last couple of years. Hit 204 2 years ago, 218 last year. He did hit 11 home runs, but that doesn't matter if you're not hitting for average. 218 is abysmal. So I think we might be able to squeeze something out of him. He's having a better year this year, hitting .253. He's still getting better. And I just think this would make sense for us. We need outfield. We need bodies. And we don't have many MLB caliber young outfielders right now. And that's kind of the issue with what we're doing here. We have a lot of veterans, a lot of older guys. We just need to get younger across the board. And I look at the infield for the Detroit Tigers. They definitely need help. Javier Baez is 31. He's only 72 overall. He's locked up for the long term. They need a better option more than likely. And I'm looking at them and they just need help. Will Brennan has been a huge disappointment for us. I just don't see it, to be honest with you, with them. And I think that Will Brennan is probably not a good fit for us, to be honest with you. I just think that maybe right now it's time for a new start for him. So what we are going to do is move on from Will Brennan and Santiago Espinal, and we will acquire Akil Baddoo, the 25-year-old outfielder who I don't think has hit his full potential yet. I still think he's got a lot of runway left in his career, and we will execute that trade. I am excited for him and really his future with our organization because I think that he will fit in quite well. And that move also gives us an opportunity to play Jeter Downs more because he does have 176 at-bats and he's hitting .276, which isn't bad. So I'm excited to see, our roster just get younger and hopefully have some pieces for the future. So that is the only move we make at the trade deadline, and now we are 41-68. And next episode, I'm going to highlight, the 4 trades we've made and talk about how they will impact the future. And also just do a deep dive into each position and kind of see the future outlook at those positions. And we will get through pretty much all of the regular season and then in short order get into the offseason because I'm excited to see what our team will look like going into next year where we have a full offseason and a bunch of young guys to build this team around. So hit subscribe, hit that like button. I hope you guys enjoyed the trade deadline episode. And let me know what you guys think of the draftees that we had and their ratings. So we'll be back next episode. Hit subscribe, hit that like button. Stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.
It's too easy. I've been there, done it, seen it. Boy, all that like Keenan. Still got crack, they fiendin'. Flow still hot like Phoenix. Shine so bright, I'm gleaming. This off top, I'm tweaking. Fresh out the rat like Neiman. And I'm still trying to fight my demons. Cause we all gotta act like Tina. That's why I gotta ride with the Nina. Outside, it's a war going on.